What if a moment of confusion could change everything you thought you knew about love? The steam filled the bathroom as Emily stood under the warm shower, eyes closed, letting the water wash away the tiredness that clung to her. It was Saturday morning, the kind she used to love. Quiet, peaceful, with sunlight slipping through the curtains and the faint hum of the city beyond their small apartment. Daniel, her husband, had gone out earlier to buy groceries. He'd left with a distracted smile and a quick kiss on her forehead, promising he wouldn't take long. Emily smiled at the memory, but it faded almost as quickly as it came. Their mornings hadn't felt the same for months. She couldn't remember the last time Daniel looked at her like he used to. That soft look that once made her feel seen, wanted. Lately, his eyes always seemed elsewhere. His work, his phone, his thoughts, all carried some invisible weight he wouldn't share. Emily had tried asking, gently, quietly, but his answers were always the same. "I'm just tired." Those 3 words had become the wall between them. She sighed, running her fingers through her hair, trying to push the thoughts away. The warmth of the water felt comforting, almost enough to silence her worry. Maybe it's just a phase, she told herself. Maybe every couple goes through this. But beneath that hope, a quieter fear whispered. What if something's wrong? What if it's not just work? The sound of the shower filled the room, steady and soothing. Then suddenly, faint but clear, she heard something else. The front door creaking open. Emily froze. Her heart skipped once, then twice. Daniel had taken his keys. He never knocked. Maybe he came back early? She waited, listening. There it was again. Footsteps in the hallway, heavy, slow. Not Daniel's quick, familiar pace. Her pulse quickened. She turned off the water, the sudden silence pressing around her. "Daniel?" she called, her voice uncertain but steady. No reply. Only the creak of a floorboard. A chill crawled up her spine. She grabbed a towel, wrapping it tightly around herself, listening. The footsteps stopped just outside the bathroom door. "Daniel?" she said again, louder this time. Then came a voice, hesitant, low, familiar. "It's me. Mark." For a second she couldn't breathe. Mark? Daniel's best friend. The one who came over often, always with his easy smile and kind manners. The one who had known Daniel since college, who'd helped them move into this very apartment. But what was he doing here? How did he even get in? Her heart pounded so loud she could barely think. "Mark? What are you doing?" Before she could finish, the bathroom door cracked open. She gasped, stepping back, clutching the towel tighter. Steam drifted between them as Mark froze in the doorway, eyes wide with shock. "Oh my God, Emily, I'm sorry," he stammered, turning away instantly. "I thought," Daniel said. "He told me—" He stopped, his words stumbling over each other. Emily's throat felt dry. "You thought what?" He kept his back turned. "He said he needed something from the house. He asked me to grab it. I didn't know you were home." Emily blinked in disbelief. The confusion in his voice sounded real, but the situation didn't make sense. "Why would Daniel send you here? He didn't say anything to me." Mark hesitated, rubbing the back of his neck. "He said he left an envelope in his study drawer. Something important. He told me to pick it up before noon." Her brows furrowed. "An envelope?" "Yeah." His voice softened. "He said it was private. The word hit harder than she expected. Daniel had secrets? What kind of secret needed Mark's help? Her chest tightened. "He didn't tell me about any envelope." Mark turned halfway, still careful not to look directly at her. "Maybe he didn't want to worry you." "Worry me about what?" He didn't answer. The silence felt heavier than the steam still clinging to the air. Emily's mind raced. Daniel had left early that morning, saying he was just running errands. But what if that wasn't true? What if there was something he didn't want her to know? "Mark," she said quietly, "what's going on?" He shifted, exhaling slowly. "Look, Emily, I don't know everything. He just said it was personal. But the way he sounded—" He stopped again, his voice fading. "The way he sounded what?" She pressed, like he was scared. Her breath caught. Scared? Daniel wasn't the kind of man who got scared easily. Something was definitely wrong. Mark finally turned, his expression a mix of concern and guilt. "I shouldn't be here. I just wanted to help him. I'll get the envelope and leave." She stood frozen, watching as he stepped out of the bathroom. Her heart was pounding, her mind spinning in too many directions. What was Daniel hiding? Why involve Mark? She followed him into the living room, the towel still clutched around her. Everything looked normal. The couch, the faint smell of coffee, sunlight touching the bookshelves. Yet the air felt different, charged, like the calm before a storm. Mark paused by Daniel's desk. His fingers hovered over the drawer, hesitant. "Are you sure you want me to look for it?" he asked. Emily swallowed hard. "If it's in my house, I have every right to know what it is." He looked at her for a long second, then slowly pulled the drawer open. Inside lay a single white envelope. No markings, no stamps. Just a name, written neatly across the front. Emily. Mark stared at it, then at her. "It's yours." Her hands trembled. "Mine?" He nodded. "I guess Daniel didn't want to give it to you himself." The room seemed to spin for a moment. She took the envelope from his hand, her heart thudding painfully. Why would Daniel write me a letter and not tell me? Her throat tightened as she turned the envelope over, fingers shaking. It wasn't sealed. Inside, a folded page peeked out, neat handwriting she instantly recognized. Daniel's. Mark stepped closer, worry written all over his face. "Emily, maybe you shouldn't read it now." "Why not?" she whispered. "Because," he said quietly, "whatever's inside, it might change everything." Her breath hitched. His words hung in the air like a storm cloud waiting to break. Emily looked down at the letter, feeling the weight of every unsaid thing between her and Daniel. She wanted to open it, to know the truth. But a part of her was terrified. What if it wasn't about money or work or stress? What if it was about love? Her fingers trembled, and she set the envelope on the desk, unable to tear it open. She turned to Mark, who looked torn between concern and something softer, something she couldn't name. "Did Daniel say anything else?" she asked. Mark hesitated, his voice barely above a whisper. "Just that he was sorry." The word cut through her. "Sorry. Sorry for what?" She stared at him, trying to read his expression, but his eyes gave nothing away. Outside, the sky had begun to darken, though it was barely noon. A cloud drifted across the sun, dimming the light in the room. The air felt colder. Emily took a step back, her mind spinning with questions. She looked from Mark to the letter, then back again. Everything she thought she knew about her marriage suddenly felt uncertain. Fragile. Mark's voice broke the silence. "Emily, whatever this is, I think Daniel didn't want to hurt you." She swallowed hard. "Then why do I feel like he already has?" The words came out barely above a whisper, the kind that left a mark even after the silence returned. Mark opened his mouth to say something, but before he could, Emily's phone buzzed on the table. A message, from Daniel. Her hands shook as she unlocked it. "Just 5 words. Don't read the letter yet." Her heart stopped. She looked at Mark, his face pale, eyes wide. And for a moment, neither of them spoke. The air grew heavier. The apartment felt smaller. Emily's voice trembled. How does he know?" Mark's phone buzzed too. He glanced down. The same message. Don't let her read it. The world seemed to tilt around her. Emily's chest tightened, fear mixing with confusion, curiosity, and a pain she couldn't name. She looked at the envelope again, her name shining faintly in the dim light. What could possibly be inside that Daniel didn't want her to see? And how far would he go to keep it hidden? The clock on the wall ticked loudly, each second stretching longer than the last. Emily stared at the letter, then at Mark, her voice barely a whisper. "Mark, what is Daniel hiding from me?" Before he could answer, the front door handle turned again. Someone was coming in. Her breath caught, and the towel slipped slightly from her trembling hand. What if the person you trusted most became the key to your biggest secret? Emily's heart thudded against her ribs as the sound of the front door filled the apartment. She clutched the towel tighter, every nerve alive with tension. The silence that followed felt unbearable. Mark's eyes met hers, confusion etched across his face. "Did you lock the door?" he whispered. She shook her head slowly. She couldn't remember if she had. The footsteps grew louder, slow, deliberate. The same weight of movement that had unnerved her moments ago now returned, heavier. Emily's breath caught as she whispered, "It's Daniel." The door opened, and Daniel stepped inside, a grocery bag in his hands. He froze when he saw them, Emily standing near the desk, her hair wet, the towel barely clinging to her shoulders, and Mark, standing beside her with the envelope in his hand. The silence was sharp. Daniel's jaw tightened, his eyes darting between them. "What's going on here?" Emily's pulse raced. "You tell me," she shot back, trying to steady her voice. "Why is Mark here? Why did you ask him to get this?" She pointed to the envelope lying on the desk. Daniel's face paled. He set the bag down slowly, his eyes flicking to Mark. "You weren't supposed to open that." Mark raised his hand slightly. "I didn't." She found it herself. Emily's voice trembled but carried strength. "You wrote my name on it, Daniel. You expected me not to read it?" Daniel exhaled shakily, running a hand through his hair. "Emily, it's complicated." "Then simplify it," she said sharply. "Because right now it looks like you're hiding something. From me." Mark stepped back, sensing the storm brewing between them. "Maybe I should go." "No." Emily's voice cracked. "You're already in this, Mark. He involved you. So you might as well stay." Daniel's eyes darkened. "Emily, don't talk to him like that." "Oh, so now you're protecting him?" She snapped. "What's really going on, Daniel?" He turned away, his silence louder than any confession. Mark looked between them, guilt flickering in his eyes. "Daniel, you should just tell her." Daniel's head snapped up. "You promised you wouldn't." Emily's chest tightened. "Promised?" She stepped closer. "Promised what, Daniel?" Mark shifted uncomfortably. "He didn't want you to find out this way." "Find out what?" She demanded, her voice trembling with fear and frustration. Daniel turned to face her finally, his voice low. "I lost my job 3 months ago." The words hung in the air like a sudden storm. Emily stared at him, stunned. "You what?" He nodded slowly. "I didn't tell you because I thought I could fix it before you found out." "I didn't want to worry you." She blinked, trying to process it. "So all this time, you've been lying?" He took a step closer. "Not lying. Protecting you." She let out a short, humorless laugh. "Protecting me from what, Daniel? The truth?" Mark looked down, silent, his jaw tight. Emily's hands trembled. "So what was in that letter? Another excuse?" Daniel looked at the envelope, regret shadowing his face. "It was my confession. Everything I couldn't say." Her eyes burned. "You could have just told me. I would have understood." He shook his head. "No, Emily, you wouldn't have." The hurt in his tone cut deeper than the words themselves. Mark finally spoke, his voice heavy. "Daniel, she deserves to know everything. Tell her about the rest." Emily's breath hitched. "The rest?" Daniel glared at Mark. "You said you'd keep that between us." Mark's jaw clenched. "I said I would. Unless it started hurting her." "And it's hurting her now." Emily's mind spun. "What else are you hiding?" Daniel's voice broke. "It's not what you think. Then make me understand." She shouted. He closed his eyes, his shoulders sagging. "Mark's been helping me with the bills. I didn't want you to know we were behind. I borrowed money from him. I was going to pay it back once I found a new job." Her breath came out shaky. "So that's why he's been around so often." Daniel nodded slowly. "I asked him to keep it quiet." Emily turned to Mark. "And you agreed?" Mark looked away. "He's my friend." "I thought I was helping." Her voice cracked. "By lying to me?" Mark's eyes softened. "I didn't lie, Emily. I just didn't tell you." "There's a difference." She shook her head, tears filling her eyes. "No, there isn't." Daniel reached for her, but she stepped back. "Don't," she whispered. "I can't even look at you right now." He froze, his hand dropping to his side. For a moment, no one spoke. The air was thick with everything unsaid. Fear, shame, betrayal. Finally, Daniel whispered, "I was trying to protect you from my failure." "I didn't want you to see me like this." Emily's voice was barely audible. "You didn't protect me, Daniel. You just made me feel like a stranger in my own home." Mark's eyes flicked between them, pain written all over his face. He took a step toward the door. "I should go. This is between you two." Emily didn't stop him, but as he reached for the doorknob, Daniel said quietly, "She needs to know everything before you leave." Mark turned back, confused. "What are you talking about?" Daniel's voice was low, trembling slightly. "Tell her why I asked you to keep checking in." "Why I asked you to stay close," Emily frowned. "Stay close? To me?" Mark's silence said everything. Her eyes widened. "Daniel, what did you tell him to do?" Daniel took a deep breath. "After I lost my job, I started noticing things. Someone was calling the house, hanging up when I answered. Then I got letters, threats. I didn't know who was sending them, but they mentioned you, said I didn't deserve you, said they knew about my failures." Emily's stomach twisted. "You think someone was threatening you?" He nodded. "I thought maybe it was someone from work. I didn't want to scare you, so I told Mark to keep an eye on you when I wasn't around." Her chest felt tight. "You made him spy on me?" "It wasn't like that," Daniel said quickly. "I just wanted to make sure you were safe." Mark spoke quietly. "I didn't like it either, Emily, but he was scared. I thought I was doing the right thing." Emily took a shaky breath, trying to absorb everything. Her husband had been lying for months. His best friend had been secretly watching over her. And now there was talk of threats she'd never seen. Her voice trembled. "Do you still have those letters?" Daniel hesitated, then nodded. "They're in my office drawer at work." Emily shook her head in disbelief. "You kept them?" "I needed proof," he said softly. The apartment felt smaller by the second. The tension was suffocating. Emily looked between the two men. One who lied to her, the other who helped him. "Do you have any idea how that makes me feel?" she whispered. "That the two of you decided what was best for me without even telling me?" Neither of them spoke. Tears welled in her eyes, but she blinked them back. "You both treated me like someone who couldn't handle the truth." Daniel looked at her, regret in every line of his face. "I thought I was protecting you from fear. And now," she said, voice breaking, "you've given me nothing but fear." Mark took a step closer, his voice low. "Emily, I know this looks bad, but Daniel didn't mean to hurt you. He just panicked. He loves you." She laughed bitterly. "Love doesn't hide things. Love doesn't make secret deals behind closed doors." The room fell silent again. The ticking clock was the only sound between them. Finally, Daniel spoke, his voice quiet. "Emily, please, read the letter. Everything I couldn't say is in there." She looked at him, trembling. "I don't know if I want to." "Then don't," he said softly. "Just know that every word in it came from love." Her eyes searched his face for honesty. For a second, she saw the man she once trusted, the one who'd made her feel safe. But the distance between them felt too wide to cross. Mark cleared his throat. "Maybe I should take the envelope with me. Keep it safe until she's ready." Emily's gaze hardened. "No, it stays here." Mark hesitated, then nodded. "All right." He turned to leave again, but before his hand touched the door, the sound of something slipped through the window. A faint rustle, followed by a soft thud on the floor. All three turned toward it. Lying just beneath the window was another envelope. Emily's name was written on it. This time, the handwriting wasn't Daniel's. Her stomach dropped. "What is that?" she whispered. Mark bent down and picked it up. The paper was cold, damp from the outside air. No stamps, no sender. He turned it over, frowning. It was pushed through the window. Daniel's face went pale. "That's the same handwriting as the threats." Emily's breath caught. "What?" Mark tore it open before either of them could stop him. Inside was a single sheet of paper. His eyes scanned it quickly, his expression tightening. He handed it to Emily without a word. The message was short, written in sharp ink. "You can hide your secrets from her, Daniel, but not from me." Her hand shook as she read the last line. "Tell her the truth before I do." The room went dead silent. Mark stepped closer. "Emily, this means someone's watching you." She looked between them, fear crawling up her spine. Daniel's voice trembled. "It means whoever sent this knows everything." Emily's breath came out uneven. Then tell me, Daniel, what haven't you told me yet? The wind howled outside, and the lights flickered once. No one moved. The letter slipped from her hand and landed on the floor, right beside the first one. 2 envelopes. 2 truths, and a silence heavy enough to break something between them forever. What if the truth you're afraid to face is the only thing that can save you? Emily sat on the couch, staring at the 2 envelopes lying before her. The one Daniel wrote, with her name in neat handwriting. And the other, the strange one that had been slipped through the window, its ink still smudged from the damp air. The room felt too quiet, like the walls were holding their breath with her. Mark stood by the window, glancing outside every few seconds, while Daniel paced back and forth, his hands trembling. "Emily," Daniel said finally, "please, don't read that second letter. Whoever sent it is trying to scare us." She didn't look at him. Her voice was calm but cold. "Then why do they seem to know so much about you?" He stopped pacing. "I don't know. I swear I don't." Mark turned from the window. "Someone's watching this place. I can feel it." Emily ignored them both and picked up the first letter. Daniel's. The one that had been sitting in the drawer, waiting for her to find it. She held it carefully, her fingers trembling slightly. "If I don't read this now," she said quietly, "I'll never know who to believe." Daniel took a step forward. "Emily, please." But she had already opened it. "Emily, if you're reading this, I've failed to keep my promise to protect you. I thought I could handle everything on my own. I was wrong. There are things you don't know. About my job, about the company I worked for, and about the people I crossed. I didn't lose my job because I was lazy. I was forced out. I was trying to do the right thing, but the right thing cost me everything." Her eyes darted over the words, her heart racing faster with every line. "You remember the night I came home late? The night I said I was at a meeting? That was the night they threatened me. They said if I spoke about what I'd discovered, they'd ruin me. I stayed silent. I thought if I left quietly, it would end there. But it didn't. The call started a week later. And then, the letters." Emily's lips parted. "This can't be real." Daniel sank into a chair, burying his face in his hands. "It's real. All of it. Mark has been helping me figure out who's behind it. He's the only one I trust. If something happens to me, I need you to believe that I was trying to protect you, even when it didn't look like it." Her voice broke as she read aloud. "Protect me from what, Daniel?" He looked up, guilt written all over his face. "They said if I didn't cooperate, they'd come after you. I couldn't risk it, Emily." She shook her head slowly, tears brimming in her eyes. "You should have told me." Mark stepped closer. "He couldn't. I told him to keep quiet until we knew who was behind it." Emily turned to him sharply. "And you thought keeping me in the dark was better? You both made decisions about my life without me." Mark's eyes softened. "We were trying to protect you. Stop saying that," she snapped. "Do either of you even realize what you've done? You made me feel crazy in my own home. You let me believe my marriage was falling apart, when all this time you were hiding some secret war behind my back." Daniel's voice cracked. "I didn't want to drag you into this. But you already have," she whispered. "They're watching me, remember?" The weight of her words sank into the silence that followed. "Sometimes love means hiding the truth until the danger passes, but I don't know if it ever will." Emily stared at the final line of Daniel's letter, her chest tightening. "Is that it?" she asked quietly. He nodded. "That's all I could write without putting you in more danger." Her hands shook as she picked up the second envelope, the one from the unknown sender. It was shorter, rougher, as if written in anger. "You think you can hide the truth, Daniel? You can't. Tell her what really happened that night or I will." Emily's stomach dropped. "What night?" Daniel's face went pale. Mark looked at him sharply. "What's it talking about?" Daniel's silence was all the answer they needed. Emily's eyes narrowed. "Daniel, what happened?" He didn't look at her. "It's nothing you need to worry about." "Don't do that again," she said firmly. "No more half-truths." He stood slowly, his hands trembling. "It was the night I got fired." "There was an accident." "An accident?" Mark repeated. Daniel swallowed hard. One of my colleagues, Andrew, he found out what I was doing. He confronted me. We argued. He slipped on the stairs in the parking lot. He hit his head. Emily's hand flew to her mouth. Daniel, I swear I didn't mean for it to happen, he said, his voice breaking. I called for help, but by the time I came back, someone had already found him, and the files were gone. Mark looked stunned. Files? Daniel nodded. Documents. Evidence. Proof that the company was laundering money through fake accounts. I was trying to expose it. Emily stared at him, her heart pounding. And you think the people behind this know about that night? Daniel's eyes filled with guilt. I don't think. I know. She sank into a chair, her thoughts spinning. It was too much. Too fast. All those nights Daniel came home quiet and distant. All those late phone calls. The sleepless pacing. It all made sense now. But what she couldn't understand was why the mysterious letter writer wanted her to know. Mark rubbed the back of his neck. If someone saw what happened that night, they could use it against him. Emily looked up sharply. Or against me. The three of them fell silent again, each lost in their own thoughts. The ticking clock echoed through the room, steady and cold. Then, a knock at the door. They froze. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. Emily's heart leapt into her throat. Mark stepped toward the door. Stay back, he whispered. Daniel stood, his jaw tight. No, if it's them, I'll handle it. Emily grabbed his arm. You don't even know who them is. He looked at her, his voice low and trembling. That's exactly why I have to open it. The knocking stopped. Silence. Then a faint scrape, as if something had been slipped under the door. Mark crouched and picked it up. Another envelope. This one had no name. Just 2 words, written in uneven letters. He lied. Mark looked at Daniel, eyes narrowing. What does this mean? Daniel shook his head. I don't know. Emily snatched the envelope and tore it open. Inside was a single photograph. Her heart froze. It was Daniel, standing in the parking lot of his old office. His face pale, his hands stained with blood. The timestamp in the corner read, 2:47 a.m. The same night he claimed to have been at a meeting. She looked up, voice trembling. You said you called for help. I did, Daniel whispered. Then why do you look like you were running away? He couldn't answer. His face drained of color. Mark stared at the photo, his expression unreadable. Someone's setting you up, Daniel. Or they're telling the truth. Emily's throat tightened. Who took this? Daniel shook his head. I don't know. Maybe someone from security. Maybe you're not telling us everything. Mark interrupted sharply. Daniel's eyes flashed. Don't you start, Mark. You don't know what it's like to live every day wondering who's watching you. Emily slammed her hand against the table. Enough, both of you! Her voice cracked the silence. For a long moment, no one moved. Then softly she said, There's only one way to end this. We go to the police. Daniel's reaction was instant. No, why not? She demanded. Because they won't believe me. The company has power, connections. If I go to them, I'll be finished. Mark frowned. You already are finished, Daniel. Look around you. Whoever's doing this isn't stopping until you're broken. Emily's eyes filled with tears. Then what do we do? Daniel's jaw clenched. We find them first. Mark gave him a hard look. You're talking about dangerous people. This isn't something you can fix by yourself. Daniel met his gaze. I'm not by myself. Emily stood slowly. And what exactly does that mean? Daniel looked at her, his eyes heavy with something she couldn't read. Guilt, fear, maybe both. It means I already have a plan. One I didn't want you to know about. Mark's voice dropped. Daniel, what did you do? He didn't answer. Instead, he walked to the cabinet and pulled out a small metal box. Inside were printed photos, papers, and a flash drive. I've been collecting everything, he said. Evidence, names, emails. The person who threatened me isn't just someone from the company. It's someone I used to trust. Emily's pulse quickened. Who? He hesitated. A friend, Mark frowned. Which friend? Daniel looked up, and his eyes met Mark's. The silence hit like a blow. Mark's brows furrowed. "What are you trying to say?" Daniel's voice trembled. "You were the only one who knew about the files. You were the only one who knew I was there that night." Mark stepped back. "You think I sent those letters?" "Who else could have?" Daniel said, his voice rising. "You were there when it all went wrong. You said you'd handle it." Emily looked between them, her head spinning. "Wait, what are you talking about?" Mark's voice hardened. "I helped you hide the files, Daniel." "Don't twist this." Daniel's face went pale. "Then where are they, Mark?" Mark froze. "What?" "The files," Daniel said slowly. "The flash drive. The one I gave you to keep safe." Mark's lips parted, but no words came out. Emily's voice dropped to a whisper. "You had it all this time?" Mark didn't answer. Daniel took a step forward, anger replacing fear. "Tell me you didn't—" Before he could finish, the lights flickered again and went out completely. The room plunged into darkness. Emily gasped. "Daniel?" Mark's voice was sharp. "Stay close to me." From somewhere outside, a faint sound echoed. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, getting closer. A shadow moved past the window, then a knock. 3 slow, heavy knocks. This time the voice outside spoke. A man's voice, calm, cold. "It's time to tell her the truth." Emily's breath caught. Daniel froze. Mark turned toward the sound, his face unreadable. The voice came again, quieter this time. "All 3 of you know what you did." And then, silence. The lights flickered once more, revealing the window, wide open. The wind howled through the room, scattering the letters across the floor. Emily clutched Daniel's arm, her voice trembling. "Who was that?" Daniel's answer was barely a whisper. "I think it's someone who never died." What if every truth you uncover only pulls you closer to the one thing you fear most? The lights flickered again before stabilizing. The room smelled faintly of rain and fear. Emily's breath came out in quick bursts as her eyes darted between Daniel and Mark. The window stood wide open, curtains swaying like ghosts in the wind. Outside, the night was dark and silent. Too silent. Whoever had spoken moments ago had vanished. Daniel moved first, rushing to close the window. "We need to call the police," he said, his voice shaking. Mark stopped him. "And tell them what? That a dead man is knocking on your window?" Emily's heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean, dead man?" Daniel turned, his face pale. "Andrew, the man who fell that night. He's the one I thought." He trailed off, unable to say the word. "Dead?" Emily whispered. He nodded slowly. "I saw him hit the ground. There was blood. He wasn't moving." Mark clenched his jaw. "Then who just spoke outside, Daniel? Because that voice wasn't a ghost." Daniel sank onto the couch, burying his face in his hands. "I don't know anymore. Maybe someone's pretending to be him. Maybe this is all revenge." Emily paced across the room, clutching her arms. "You said you called for help that night. Did anyone ever come?" Daniel looked up, guilt dark in his eyes. "I ran. I panicked." She stared at him in disbelief. "You left him there?" He nodded. "I thought I'd come back, but when I did, the body was gone." Mark frowned. "Gone? You mean the police didn't find anything?" "No," Daniel said quietly. "They never even filed a report. I thought maybe someone cleaned it up, that it was over. But I was wrong." Emily's knees felt weak. She sank onto a chair. "So the letters, the photos, the threats, they're all from whoever took him?" Mark's voice was grim. "Or from him." The words hung heavy between them. The rain outside began to fall harder, tapping against the glass like quiet fingers. Sometimes silence screams louder than the truth itself. Emily stood abruptly. "We can't stay here." Daniel looked up. "Where will we go?" "Anywhere but here," she said. "This place doesn't feel safe." Mark grabbed his jacket. "She's right. I'll take you both to my place. It's out of town, no one knows the address." Daniel hesitated. "And what if they're watching you too?" Mark met his eyes. "Then they already know we're together in this." Emily didn't wait for Daniel's approval. She grabbed the letters and shoved them into her bag. "Let's just move." They left the apartment in tense silence. The elevator hummed faintly as it descended. and Emily could hear her own heartbeat echoing in the narrow space. Every floor that passed felt like an eternity. Outside, the rain had turned into a storm. The city lights blurred behind streaks of water as Mark's car sped through the streets. Daniel sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window, lost in thought. Emily sat in the back, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. The windshield wipers beat a frantic rhythm. "Mark," she said softly, "you said you helped Daniel that night. What exactly did you do?" He glanced at her in the rearview mirror. "I helped him get rid of the evidence." Daniel turned sharply. "That's not how it happened." Mark's jaw tightened. "You handed me the flash drive, Daniel. You told me to hide it somewhere no one could find it. That's what I did." Emily leaned forward. "Then where is it now?" Mark hesitated. "It's not with me anymore." Her eyes widened. "Then who has it?" Mark's fingers tightened on the steering wheel. "The person who called me last week." Daniel's head snapped toward him. "What?" Mark's tone darkened. "Someone claiming to be Andrew." Emily's breath caught. "You didn't think to tell us?" "I didn't believe it was him," Mark said. "Until tonight." The car grew quiet. Only the rain filled the silence. Daniel rubbed his temples. "What did he say?" Mark swallowed. "He said he wanted the files back, and if I didn't return them..." He trailed off. Emily's voice trembled. "What?" "He said he'd come after Emily." Daniel's fist slammed against the dashboard. "You should have told me." "I tried," Mark shouted. "You were too busy pretending everything was fine." Emily leaned forward, her voice trembling but sharp. "Stop it. Both of you." They fell silent again, the air between them thick and heavy. The hardest part of love isn't losing trust. It's realizing it was never whole to begin with. Mark's cabin was small but warm, hidden behind a line of trees on a quiet road. When they stepped inside, the smell of old wood and rain greeted them. Emily dropped her wet jacket, still shaking from everything that had happened. Daniel sat at the table, staring blankly. "We need to figure out what Andrew wants," he said. "If he's alive, why hasn't he gone to the police?" Mark crossed his arms. "Because he doesn't want justice. He wants payback." Emily stood by the window, watching the rain. "Payback for what?" "You said it was an accident." Daniel nodded slowly. "It was, but maybe he doesn't see it that way." The lightning flashed outside, lighting up the trees for a split second. Emily thought she saw movement, a figure standing at the edge of the forest. She blinked, and it was gone. "Mark," she whispered. "Someone's outside." He moved to the window immediately, scanning the dark. "I don't see anything." "I swear I saw someone," she said, her voice shaking. Daniel stood. "We should lock the doors." They did. Every window, every entrance. And then sat together in the dim glow of a single lamp. The storm outside raged louder now, thunder rolling through the hills. Mark poured himself a drink, his hand trembling slightly. "We can't keep running? If Andrew's alive, he'll find us." Emily's eyes fell on the letters on the table. "Maybe he already has." Daniel looked at her, confused. "What do you mean?" She unfolded the first letter again, scanning it quickly. "Look, right here." She pointed to a line Daniel had written. "If something happens to me, it means they found me again." Her voice dropped. He said again, "That means this isn't the first time." Daniel's face went pale. Mark leaned forward. "What aren't you telling us, Daniel?" Daniel exhaled shakily. "After that night, I got a message, an email, from Andrew's account." Emily stared at him. "What did it say?" Daniel's voice broke. It said, "You should have stayed quiet." The room went dead silent. Mark cursed under his breath. "So he's been alive this whole time." "Watching you," Daniel nodded. "And now he wants what I took." Emily frowned. "The files." "Yes," Daniel said softly. "They were proof that his department was moving money illegally. He was part of it. I think he blamed me for exposing him." Mark ran a hand through his hair. "Then this isn't just revenge. It's control. He wants to scare you into silence." Daniel's eyes hardened. "Then he picked the wrong person." Emily turned sharply. "Daniel, no. Don't do something reckless." He stood, grabbing his jacket. "If I end this now, we can all move on." Mark stepped in front of him. You don't even know where he is, Daniel's voice dropped. I think I do. Emily's heart raced. Daniel, stop, please. You're not thinking straight. But he was already moving toward the door. Mark grabbed his arm. You're walking into a trap. Daniel looked at him coldly. Maybe. But at least I'll know the truth. He yanked free and disappeared into the storm. Emily ran to the door, shouting after him, but he was gone into the darkness. Mark stood still, breathing hard. He's going to get himself killed. Tears welled in Emily's eyes. We have to find him. Mark hesitated. You should stay here. No, she said fiercely. I'm done staying behind. They grabbed flashlights and ran into the storm, the rain slashing across their faces. The woods were dense, the wind howling through the branches. Each step was a battle against mud and fear. Daniel, Emily screamed, her voice breaking through the storm. Where are you? No answer. Mark shone his flashlight around. Over there. A flicker of movement. A shadow deeper than the dark itself. They ran toward it, hearts pounding. When they reached the clearing, they stopped. Daniel stood there, soaked, staring at something in his hand. A small metal box. The one that had been missing. He looked up at them, eyes wide. He left it here, Mark frowned. What do you mean? Daniel opened the box slowly. Inside was the flash drive, and a folded note. Emily stepped closer as he unfolded it. The paper was damp, the ink smeared, but the words were clear. I told you I'd come back for what's mine. You took everything from me, Daniel. My career, my life, my name. Now I'll take yours. Beneath it was a photograph. The three of them at a party years ago. Daniel, Mark, and Andrew. Smiling. Together, Emily's voice trembled. He's been watching us since then. Mark looked around nervously. We need to go now. Daniel didn't move. He's close. I can feel it. Lightning flashed again. And in that instant, Emily saw him, a figure standing at the edge of the trees. Tall, still, watching. Daniel, she whispered. Behind you. Daniel turned, but before he could move, the figure stepped closer, face half hidden in shadow. A voice cut through the storm. Calm, steady, and hauntingly familiar. I told you, Daniel. You can't bury the truth. The flashlight flickered. Emily grabbed Mark's arm, frozen in terror. Daniel took one slow step forward. Andrew? The man smiled faintly. You remember me. Then lightning struck again. And when the light returned, the space where he stood was empty. Emily gasped. He's gone. Daniel looked around frantically. No, he was right here. Mark grabbed his shoulder. We have to leave. But before they could move, a voice echoed again, this time from behind them. You shouldn't have opened the letters. Emily turned slowly, and her heart stopped. On the ground near her feet lay another envelope, soaked through by the rain, her name written in dark, dripping ink. She bent to pick it up with trembling hands, and when she turned it over, she froze. On the back, scrawled in jagged letters, were 4 words that made her blood run cold. I'm already inside your house.